The footage of crashes, mishaps, and accidents within this video is presented strictly for educational and informational purposes to illustrate crucial lessons in RV safety, responsible road practices, and personal preparedness.
Coming at you fast like a freight train ride. Another crazy, stupid RV design. Smoke and sparks, no fear, no mild. Buckle up, it's RVs Gone Wild.
RVs Gone Wild number 20. That's right, 20 in this series. 20! That is crazy. I've been doing this forever now. You guys keep coming, I keep making them. That's right, vloggings will continue until morale improves. Never forget it. We got some really crazy ones here. We've got bears on RVs. We've got RVs on boats. We've got all kinds of stuff. Let's get rolling right now. Hey, it's been a while since I asked. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're watching this right now and you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button. Let's get on with it. When I moved up here to British Columbia, I was a city slicker. When I got my first RV, I started wondering, hey, do bears get into RVs? Bears scare me. People say, don't worry about bears. I say, tell that to all the people who've been mauled by bears. So here we've got some RVs that actually survived a bear attack. That's right, the bears came to these RVs. These RVs are often filled with food, filled with smells, everything you're supposed to keep inside so the bears don't get it, so the bears aren't attracted. Well, they're in your RV now, and the bears want to get in there. So take a look at this one. We got this wildwood that got tore up. This bear went at the whole side. It never got fully in, but it tore down the whole side of the RV. It seems that the stick and tin style are a little more vulnerable than the fiberglass. But let's continue. Here's another one where, again, you can see this one, they got through the stick and tin to the other side. Once they get through the aluminum, it's no problem for the bears to get through the insulation and the wood. They can actually rip the doors open if they get them just right. These bears are really strong and they know about doors. And sadly, even though these ones I've shown, nobody got hurt, this last one, unfortunately, was the picture that was taken after someone had passed away and his friends went and found him. This guy was working out in the woods and the bear came along in the middle of the night or whatever and literally took this guy out. So again, I'm not kidding. Bears are something to be worried about. I travel with 3 different cans of bear spray, one for my wife on a belt, one on my belt, and then one that we keep in the trailer so that whenever I'm out, I can leave it on the picnic table.
Bear spray has been used to deter bears at close range in a number of situations.
Make sure you pack your food away, make sure you keep your stuff inside, and make sure you make a lot of noise. Check out what this family did. When these folks were getting attacked in their RV, they ended up just using their car alarm to scare it off. Check it out.
Make its way inside their camper. ABC 15's Cameron Polam talked to the family about the move that put an end to that frightening encounter.
Sightings of bears enjoying the scenic campsite were almost immediate.
We look over there and there was a bear and a cub.
For Bobby Campbell, a camping trip up north meant to create memories gave his family one heck of a story.
That's a good one right there.
He says it started gnawing and clawing at the vent, trying to get inside. Frightened,
And she set it off and it just ran.
the car alarm worked. The bear never returned.
So before you get out the bear spray, maybe try just hitting your car alarm or hitting a boat alarm. Which is something else I carry on my bear belt. From bears to fish, Dale N sent this in to us. This is his ice fishing trailer. He came across our channel a while back. He wanted to show off his old 24-foot Prowler trailer. He converted it to an ice fishing shack. In one of these upcoming episodes, I'll make sure to do one on ice fishing trailers, which are its own type of trailer. But here he made this one. He spends his days enjoying the peace and quiet out on the lake in Saskatchewan. And I love the green lighting on the bottom, the mood lighting. This is a great rig, buddy. And thanks, Dale, for sending it in. And more Canadian content, we've got D-Man or Dave L from Alberta. He sent us these photos. He's a big fan of the channel and wanted to send us a few that he spotted around Alberta and the Calgary area. We've got this Winnebago. He's not sure if this guy made it or if Winnebago made it, but it seems to be some Harley Davidson edition of a Winnebago. And he included this other, it looks like to be a crawler hauler that somebody custom made. Definitely a nice custom job. Thanks for sending these in, buddy. And check out these folks. I found this on Facebook. These folks have done what I always wanted to do, and that is take my RV and put it on a small barge or an oversized pontoon boat. I'm fascinated by the idea, and I'm so glad to see they've done it and done it to completion. I could absolutely see my RV sitting on that very same size boat. This is now on my bucket list. It's something I want to do. I want to get my RV onto a barge or onto a pontoon boat and head out onto the lake or river somewhere. And Don J sent this in to us. This is actually a van I featured recently on one of our recent episodes where somebody turned the van into a pull trailer. Somebody made a meme out of it. To be honest, I love this whole idea of a second life for motorhomes once the drivetrain is shot. It ain't pretty, but it works. Thanks for sending it in. This picture's a little blurry, but RVing with Joe fans, Don and Dawn, wanted to send this in to us as an example of what not to do when you're trying to level your trailer. These folks were clearly up on a pretty steep angle, and then they actually used their propane tanks as additional mount points for their stabilizer jacks. Now, I'm sure nothing's gonna blow up here, but in general, try not to use your propane tanks to bear weight. That's not a good idea. And as a reminder to everybody, I'd love it if you'd share your RVs and trailers with me. If you see a cool RV or truck or trailer out there, send it my way, rvingwithjoe@gmail.com. I'll try to feature it here. I can't feature them all, but I really try. Also, we've got RVing with Pets. So if you got a pet you want to feature, you can also send that to me at rvingwithjoe@gmail.com, and we'll feature it on RVing with Pets. We've got another episode coming very soon. And RVing with Joe fan Chris Spencer, who runs the COA over in Las Vegas, he sent me a couple. He's always keeping his eyes out. We've got this Super C that was hauling a race car. That's a great use for a Super C. You see them a lot around the racetracks. And he spotted this one in Vegas. It was a hotshot delivery van with really large living quarters. Yeah, you can see some of these trucks, like I've said in the past, the campers can get so big on the back that they're effectively RVs on the back of the truck. That allows these guys to pretty much live out of their vehicles. A lot of times you see couple drivers with this, so they can run nearly 24 hours a day with one person sleeping and one person driving. Ed K sent this in to us. This is the RV frame with cab over to carry his buggy. It's an RV frame with a cab over camper and an off-road buggy all strapped together. He's ready for an off-road trip to Red Rock Canyon Off-Road Park in Southern California. And when I look at this rig, it qualifies. This is turducken, and that's right, it is time for turducken. Everybody knows how this works. Turducken's when you take a turkey, and inside it you cook a duck, and inside it you cook a chicken. It's a great recipe, but an interesting recipe to tow with. Let's take a look at some turduckens. I dug out some different ones here, not necessarily RVs, but when you just go to truck-only turduckens, you can get all kinds of interesting stack jobs from around the world. This one's got a tractor pulling a flatbed with a flatbed truck on top of it and a stake bed truck on top of it. And it looks like some kind of smaller commercial truck stacked on top of it. That's a whole lot of turducken. Same thing here. You've got this flatbed truck with another flatbed on top of it and another flatbed on top of that. And then number 4 up there, you got a car. This is car truck turducken. And it seems like there's some official there in the picture who's taking note. You ever wonder how you got your RV trailer? Well, this is how RV trailers are born. After mommy trailer and daddy trailer get together, they make these baby trailers and the stork delivers them to your nearest dealership. That's right, a lot of times these smaller RV trailers will be stacked on these long beds, and this was its own form of trailer turducken. I imagine this would work too if you had a really big family. Everybody gets their own RV. You ever seen these rolling down the road? This is a tractor on top of a tractor on top of a tractor on top of a tractor. That's how they deliver them. They have these custom couplers to couple them all together and transport them like this. It's amazing it's legal, but I'm guessing it's safe. And here's some more interesting delivery turducken. I'm guessing these are a couple of trailers that are being delivered to RV dealers. There's a whole network of people around the country that are just driving these trailers around. Which is good, because who really wants their trailer towed on the road directly, right? You want to break in that axle, break in those brakes. And you don't want some delivery guy out there going hard on your brakes before you end up buying the trailer. So I like this. I'm hoping my trailer was delivered like this. And Gordon H sent this in to us. You saw this on his trip to Dallas next to a Cracker Barrel in 2018. If you're going to put a pop-up on a trailer, I like the idea of flipping it 90 degrees like that so you take up side space rather than forward and back space. Love these custom trailers. And he found this other one out in the Thumb area of Michigan. Yeah, I've seen a lot of crawler haulers like this where people are taking buses and just cutting them in half. You've seen on my previous videos. There's a whole Facebook group called Crawler Haulers if you want to see more of these types. The buses are a real popular configuration. And thanks to Tyler for sending in another example of a bus converted to a crawler hauler, as well as this custom job where you've got a fifth wheel getting pulled by a full commercial truck with a side-by-side on the top. But a classic turducken. Clearly you got to get that trailer off before you bring that side-by-side down. That makes sense. Elizabeth H sent this to us. Her and her husband, they like to watch our videos. Thanks for watching. She said she found this. It's cute, but she says it's probably not for a tall family. Helps to be short like me at times like this. Thanks again to Elizabeth from Florida, California of the East. Hey, have you ever had to move your RV trailer around in a tight spot? This whole range of dollies that are out there really amazes me and kind of took my interest. I started looking at all the different types that are out there. There are these prototypes for track-based, remote control ones. There's manually hand-controlled ones for, lighter weight trailers. Check out all these different devices.
A reason why you'd want to get something like this, besides it just looking cool, is using it to put that trailer away in a tight spot you might not be able to get there.
This dolly offers the convenience and power you need to get the job done. It can handle trailers weighing up to 10,000 pounds, making it suitable for a wide range of applications. Whether you have a travel trailer, a horse trailer, or even a small boat trailer, this dolly can handle the load with ease.
This electric trailer dolly is equipped with a powerful motor that provides smooth and precise control. The motor operates quietly, ensuring minimal disturbance while maneuvering your trailer. Impressive weight capacity of up to 15,000 pounds. Powerful motor for smooth and precise control. Quiet operation for a peaceful maneuvering experience. Excellent mobility with large air-filled tires for various terrains.
Henry C. from Ontario, Canada sent this to us. This is a Winnebago Lasharo 4x4 with a 4.8 LS. It's got those boxes on the side. This thing is a beast. It's ready to roll. Up here in Canada, the Pavement Princess rigs just don't do. You need some beef like this when you have to head into town to go to the Legion meat draw. James S., or Jimmy as he likes to go by, down in Oceanside, California. He built this one in 2017. Got a nice look to it. Again, the things that you can do if you know what you're doing. Good job, Jimmy. Thanks for sending it in, buddy. And enjoy that Oceanside weather. Want to thank Kjetil from Norway. He's been watching our videos. They've been using their Tesla Model X 75D to tow their 1,750 kilogram Fendt 515 Bianco. This is a caravan or a trailer made in Germany. They've been doing it for a year now. They've been traveling around Norway and Denmark for vacations and weekends. They never seem to have any problems with range because they have a supercharger network that's very dense there. And they wanted to say hello from Norway. Yeah, I just recently saw somebody posting that the range and abilities of the X exceeded the Cybertruck. I know a whole lot of you went nuts when I started talking about the Cybertruck. But yeah, here it is. The Tesla Model X's apparently have a better range than the Cybertrucks, which is a crazy idea. And again, these European caravans or trailers are made a little differently. They're not quite as beefed up on the heft as our American counterparts. And they're more balanced to be in the middle and to be operated at a slower speed. So they aren't going to be going 75 or 85 miles down a Texas freeway, which likely would result in trailer sway for a trailer like this. But instead, they're kept down to sort of more 55, 60 mile an hour speeds, which you would expect in Europe. Thanks, Kjetil, for sending this in. And we're going to end back with another Canadian, Necky Dave. He sent us in this. Necky Dave. He gets a kick out of all the different rigs that we show on our channel. Some are pretty cool, he says. And like he says, some are for comic relief. This is his rig. It's primarily built for winters down in Baja. It's a 2012 Ram 5500 with 4200 super singles, a Kettleman air suspension on all four corners, Bigfoot camper, carries all the toys, the kayaks, the inflatable paddleboards, the bikes, the motorcycle, and much more. The motorcycle is on a custom-built swing-out arm, so he doesn't have to deal with unloading it to get in and out of the camper. Definitely an apocalypse-worthy ride you got there. Looks awesome. Thanks again for sharing. And of course, I've got my travel videos I've been working on. We just headed out into BC recently, and I'm putting out a bunch of different videos on that. We just released one yesterday. Check it out right here. I got another travel video over here in the corner, and right below me is last week's RVing Gone Wild. Thanks again for watching, everybody.